I got my first electric blanket fire case in 1984, and I looked at it, and the more I delved into it, I realized and discovered that this wasn't a rare occurrence. There were literally more than 1,500 fires a year happening in the United States from electric blankets made by one company, Sunbeam. There was a plastic that Sunbeam developed that they ran electricity through with two copper wires, very closely spaced. It's about the size of a piece of telephone wire. These two copper wires don't themselves get hot, but they're encased in plastic. Plastic doesn't conduct electricity. It's an insulator. But if you put carbon in the plastic, carbon conducts electricity. You now have something that is a partial conductor, a semiconductor. And the way these PTC electric blankets work is, as the electricity is passing positive and negative along the copper wires, electrons are flowing through the plastic from carbon molecule to carbon molecule. And that makes the wire get warm. The problem is, if one of those little copper wires breaks, you get a very tiny arc. And if you expose carbon and hydrogen as plastic to this little tiny arc, you convert it to solid carbon and hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas, think of the Hindenburg, it's explosive. And so what would happen is, as people were sleeping under these electric blankets and these little tiny wires would break, the carbon would build up, the hydrogen gas would build up, and all of a sudden, pop, it caught on fire. What I'm seeing now, and I'm seeing more and more of these, is people are getting injured by Sunbeam electric blankets, not because they caught fire, but because they overheated. I had a young woman from the Pittsburgh area who woke up, I think it was the day before Thanksgiving, to horrible burns all over the side of her face. It was her electric blanket. There was no other explanation why she would have these burns on her face. I went to a high-end cooking supply house and I bought a high-end electronic cooking thermometer. And I put it into the electric blanket and I bundled the electric blanket up nice and tight to see just how hot it would get. And it heated to well over 135 degrees. Now, that doesn't sound all that hot, but anything over approximately 114 degrees, given enough time, will cause a burn injury. I was able to take her case and get her a good result. It was a confidential settlement, but I got her what I considered under the circumstances to be a good result, as did she, because I didn't have to recreate the wheel. I understand the product. I was able to demonstrate how and why it could malfunction, and we were able to successfully pursue that case. And I've done a number of other Sunbeam burn injury cases where the case didn't have enough damages that most other attorneys would have ventured into it. But I'm happy to do those cases.